Welcome to the Firespitting with BS01 podcast, where we absolutely roast BIONICLE. I'm Swert, and with me are...
Dorek.
Spirit.
And Zox Tomana.
Excellent. And today we have neither a controversial nor an interesting topic whatsoever, because as we foretold in the past, now we will be discussing Vezon. And I need to blanket statement that I will be accidentally saying Vezon because that's what I've been calling him for the last 10 years, 15 years. So if I do slip up, I'm sorry, but hey, that's on me.
No. You got to say controversial things to get people to comment more. Like, Vezon was good. There's controversial thing to say.
Actually,
well, I mean, he was... All right, well, let's get into it then. How popular was Vezon really?
I actually enjoyed Vezon as a character at first. I thought it was interesting to have a dynamic where he was a little different than the other villains, where his whole motive isn't based entirely on what he wants to get, what he wants to do. It's just, I'm here, I'm evil, get used to it.
I will say, I thought very creative set design. The only BIONICLE character wearing clothes.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I still use that cloak of his, that cape of his.
If Fenrak's legs didn't keep detaching, it would be the coolest thing that Lego has ever made for BIONICLE. I appreciate a lot of the things they were trying to do. However, I think the execution of that character was very strange.
Well, let's stick with him in 2006 to start with.
2006.
We'll start with 2006.
Let's imagine ourselves. The year is 2005, and we are in Hartford, Connecticut, where that's where Lego's American Enfield, Connecticut, where the Lego story team is having a meeting, and they're trying to hash out. All right, we got to sell this character. He's got a silver face. He rides a spider. He wears a cape. What's his deal? He's like the final boss. What's his deal? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that he is a defusion version of this blue guy. They don't look anything the same. Don't even bring that into things. But randomly, we've chosen the blue guy. And they're going to be...
Hey, if we're calling that one Vezok, we should call this one Vezon.
Maybe...
Vezon.
No.
There it is.
But yeah, like maybe they just had rights to a certain number of names and like, oh, well, we got this Vezon name and this Vezok name. This is past our legal check. Why don't we make them like split people? Sure, why not? But then from a story perspective, it's, oh yeah, and then they found the Spear of Fusion. Well, what is this? Well, you're going to hear about it in this book that no one's going to read.
Yep.
Okay. He also gets the Spear of Fusion, but also the Spear of Fusion, the first time we see it, unfuses.
You know what? No, I figured it out.
It's got to have a reverse setting.
I figured out what's happened here. And Dorek, I think you'll appreciate this joke. The two characters were made at Lego North America. One was created in the Brick House, the other was the Compass House. That's a joke that only Dorek would understand in this group right now. But that's because we've both been there.
I'll just trust you to insert the rim shot later.
Oh, I'll be inserting the photos of what they are later.
I'm just saying, he had it set to M for Mini when it should have been set to W for Wumbo.
But like, okay, I don't even know. Like he has the Spear of Fusion then, which is also continuing on from 2005's infinite body horror powers.
Yep.
You could just like shoot anyone with that. And that happens to some of the Dark Hunters. They get fused together to turn into horrible monstrosities. Dragon Ball Z is not how the world works. If you were fused with someone else, that's horrifying.
That is kind of horrifying.
And like,
I was also going to say, he uses that spear as well against some other Baraka down the line. And one of them just happens to be Vezok.
It's Vezok, which is an interesting thing. But hold on, going back to the defusing for a second, I also found it incredibly weird that like when they are separated from one another, it said that Vezok loses all of his like tactical ability and reasoning. Vezon doesn't have any of that.
Right. Well, here's the other thing of like, why not make it like, oh, it's his craziness or it's his evilness or I don't know. And then they also kind of boxed themselves in with the marketing of like the Paraka's nicknames of like the bully, the beast, Satan coming through.
Paraka, yo Paraka, gang on the loose. Nothing you can do.
But yeah, like the whole fusion thing, defusion, like doesn't make sense that it just. Well, yeah, like you're saying, like when you unfuse Vezok from himself, you get Vezon. Which how did they come up with a name for Vezon? It doesn't make any sense.
I feel like there was like a typo, and so they just had both names on the list. They only made submit one, but then somehow both went through.
You know what it is?
But like from an in-universe perspective, like if you took me and hit me with the Spirit Fusion, I'm Spirit. So does my defused self turn into Spirit? Like what? Spirit?
Sure.
Like what?
You know what
you
it
gotta
is?
put an in on it. Spirit.
Spirit. There we go.
Spirit.
I'll tell you what it is. His original name used to be Vezon.
He's off. Like, yeah, no, like it doesn't make sense, and so like why? But so okay, so regardless, it doesn't make sense. You have a crazy character, a quote unquote crazy, because probably not quantum mental illness in terms of.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is not very 2020 to have characters be insane or mentally ill. That is not PC.
No, it's not. I mean, I would be more than okay if it was a multiple personalities thing that Vezok had originally.
Okay, I'm on board.
Sure, okay.
And they just kind of split off, and that became kind of where they were going with that. But they never introduced that in the first place, so it's not even a canon thing we can turn on to.
Yeah, like it doesn't. But even in the universe, like I don't know if you recall, back in 2005, they released the Dark Hunter's Guide. Oh, I guess 2006 because it
was actually 2006 because the contest was in 2005.
Yeah, the contest was 2005. Book comes out in 2006. The Dark Hunter's Guide. It's got all the Paraka, and then the Shadowed One in the foreword talks about how he's torn out one of the pages and destroyed it because he was so angry. And then we learn that this is in reference to Vezon, someone he never met.
I think I ranted about this in one of the previous episodes, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you? I mean, like, from a writing perspective, why would you introduce this thing in the first place? But also, like, yeah, obviously he never met the guy. Why was he expecting someone who split off from the people that betrayed him to then return the mask to him?
There is a way to fix that. There is a way they should have fixed that. Is if instead it had been Vezok was split right there in, the island, and then that's where they learn of Vezon. Yeah. Told you. It was going to happen. Then they create Vezon, and then he just steals the spear out of nowhere.
I don't know. Like it doesn't. It's such a weird thing to have of like the idea that you can split off part of yourself to be another person. That's such a random thing for them to add. Of like, really by the way, you can just divide people. Excuse me, what?
There is one thing I will note. Thankfully, though, he does not have a spine slug.
Well, that is canon. That's because the cape wouldn't work. It's not. We talked about this though. It's the slugs. The slugs are a parasite.
Yeah, the slugs aren't the spines.
Right. Yeah. But the point is, more importantly, that just proves that it's not just a duplicate of Vezok. It is literally just another being. Which, how does the Spirit Fusion work like that?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's not a cloning machine. And it's not like half the spine slug went with it.
Also, I don't know if this is explained. God, it's been a couple of years. Sorry if I've forgotten. But the Paraka take Toa canisters from Mangaya to Voyanui. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so why are there 7 of those canisters?
Oh, so they do explain that. There is an order of Matanui at some point is like sent to Matanui in order to see what's on. Makuta kills him without knowing who he is.
Okay. What a roundabout explanation, but yeah, I'll accept it.
it's fine. Yeah, it feels weird to accept that this ultra powerful being that Makuta just killed without really questioning it.
Well, I mean, the Order of Mananui is very inconsistent in its power. Of like in 2009, when they're going around in the serials just murdering all the Makuta, like, oh no, I guess 2008. Like they are so overpowered. Of like, oh yeah, Makuta, boom, you're dead. You're dead. I don't know why we didn't do this thousands of years ago, but now you're dead. That took no effort.
We should have been doing this from the beginning.
Super easy.
Well, but then you also have like Botar, who just gets killed off screen like a punk.
Yeah,
by Makuta.
And then replaced with a character who's identical. What a non-death. He didn't die. It's just him in a mustache.
It's like a D&D character who's creating a new spreadsheet or a new sheet, and he's like, "No, I'm just going to use the same sheet. I'm just going to call him Bator."
Yeah, that really ground my gears.
Rabok. No, Bator.
I am Ratar. I am Evo.
Ratar, gotta catch that Ratar. Thank you.
But yeah, like character introduction, very strange. Very strange indeed.
Yes.
Also, back to what we were saying about mental health. He's the first of what becomes several characters. I guess the Tower Kester guy. It's first of many characters who are quote unquote insane.
He's the same year, so I mean, yeah.
Which I mean, you can cross insane and read that as annoying. That's what it
and
became.
That's the thing too. Like, with the Toho cancer, like I get that there is probably some significant trauma there. With Vezon, like it's never, aside from the fact that he split off from Vezok, like it's not really explained where this insanity comes from.
Or even what it looks like. Like, is he insane because he goes for the Mask of Life and then just holds on to it? Like, it doesn't...
Well, that's the thing. They had that at the very beginning since their introduction of him in... What was it? Legacy of Evil? That was the novel. Yes. In Legacy of Evil, he was already basically like that. He was already kind of not with it.
Right. So is that why he goes after the mask?
I mean, I think he went after the mask.
He goes after the mask because he knows about it and he thinks it sounds like a fun idea, which is basically what all the other Paraka were thinking anyway.
I'm also wondering if the mask actually also reached out to him thinking he'd be a worthy guardian. Because, again...
Why would the mask think that, though?
He managed to get that far through all of the traps of the stairs and not die on the first one?
Yeah, that's not... explained
exactly. And then
how does he do that? Yeah, wait. How does he
I never thought about that.
Destiny is a lie.
Yeah, wait, no, so hold on. Does the mask choose him before? No, the mask lets him buy the Guardians, I thought.
That was what I think was that ever truly explained? I thought that's how they explained it. I thought that was
like I don't think it was mentioned in the books, but I think Greg at one point it was like, yeah, the mask chose him. That's why it let him past all of the Guardians.
Okay,
which still doesn't explain why he chose this.
When Vezon arrived on Void Nui,
also thought it'd be a lark.
All right, hold on. Let Spirit speak.
When Vezon arrived on Void Nui, he discovered the secret staircase and was allowed past all its defenses as a result of being wanted by the Ignika for a protector. Upon arriving in the Chamber of Life, Vezon attempted to take the mask, but was instead cursed by it. He was fused to an enlarged spider Rahi, a Fenrock, given the power of foresight and the ability to absorb kinetic energy, and the mask fused itself to Vezon's head, making him one of his guardians. He remained for the next few weeks, toying with the sphere of fusion, waiting for his quarry to arrive. Huh.
I like that they give him a vision power from the mask just because they needed him to have a vision power.
Right?
Yeah. Well, because he doesn't do anything. All right, I exist. I did it. I now have been defused from my other half. All right, beeline to Voyanui, beeline down the stairs. I've been alive.
Which, by the way, he was able to find the stairs in like less than a day.
Yeah, well, time in Bionicle is just a mess. Like all of
and without anybody noticing, the the Matoran all stumble upon all of the Paraka in their canisters, but somehow Vezon, in what I'm assuming is a super canister because it belonged to somebody bigger than Atella, just sneaks on by.
Yeah, like it doesn't. I don't get it. Like, and then, but like all of 2006, 2007 doesn't happen in like the span of a day.
A couple of days.
Yeah, but like you compare it to Bionicle previously, where it's like, oh yes, and then for an indeterminate amount of time, this happened.
Millennia, centuries, thousands of years, whatever.
And then everything happens in a day.
Yeah, well, the whole Bionicle arc takes place over like the course of a year.
Yes, from 2001 to 2003 is a few months, and then 2006 to 2008 is officially like a week.
That's so dumb. I hate that so much.
But everything lasted for thousands of years undisturbed in an ocean planet.
Like, just make it that it lasts a year. That's so much more satisfying. And don't make the characters thousands of years old. That's stupid.
Yeah. Make them 50 years old. That's a little more respectable.
Or just make it so that they can have babies. For goodness sake.
5 generations ago.
Reproduction.
Well, they talk about generations. Sorry to completely sideline the podcast. You can cut if you want. In the Rahi guide, Dorek mentions that he's talking to Vakama about the Kanohi dragon, and Vakama doesn't remember seeing it. So Dorek writes, it hasn't been seen in many generations. And then that's never referenced again of like, what's this? But here's some trivia. When we hear about the Kanohi dragon in, I don't know, whatever the flashback book is, Wenua is around. So canonically, Wenua is older than Vakama. There's your trivia.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, and canonically, Onua was supposed to be older than all the others, but I think it turned out they were all made at the same time in a retcon. Is that what I got?
No. You mean for the Tomata?
Yes. Yeah. Originally from one of the old...
No, I'm talking Matoran.
Reference. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm sidelining that and emphasizing this one as well.
Right.
Just to show it just... There's way too many retcons.
Oh.
Well, he said he was going to see if he can fix the signal, so...
Okay.
All right. We'll keep going.
Be back and we won't. Don't just... Sister present.
That's fine. I'm running.
So... Yeah.
I mean, it's not cutting in and out for me, but Dorek once in a while does kind of stutter, but not badly.
Is my audio good?
Yeah, yours is fine. How's mine?
Terrible.
Of course it is.
It's good.
Anyway, we'll continue on for a minute.
Okay. Okay, so he
Generations, Kanohi Dragon.
Yeah, so
Makama.
Well, I mean, if we go back to the our main topic, a good old Vezon, what do you think about his powers? Because I think some of them are a little nonsense. Like,
well, let me pull back up what his powers are, because it is so random in 2006, and then later on with his additional powers.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, like he doesn't have any powers to himself to start with. Like from moment of quote unquote birth, he doesn't have any powers.
Which how much easier would that have been if Vezok is one of the only Paraka who doesn't have 30,000 powers?
Yes, it does say here, as a result of his creation, Vezon has no unique powers of his own that the other Skakti possess. However, the Ignika granted Vezon with a variety of powers as a guardian to make up for his lack of them. Obviously we know his foresight is something that it is there. It limited in that he cannot see very far. Makes sense. Given the ability to absorb kinetic energy, remember that.
Which is so broken. Like he can just punch himself, or like.
Well, and that's what Fenrak was doing. It was literally just tapping its leg in the lava or the ground, and it's
that's so overpowered. That's nonsense. Okay, maybe here's another sideline that this final showdown with Vezon reminds me of. Is in what's it called? The Force Awakens, when Rey and Finn are fighting Kylo Ren, and he just starts punching himself, I'm like, is he trying to absorb some kinetic energy? Like, what's going on?
Oh,
And
but
that's
here's
No,
the
he's
fun.
just trying to psych himself up, you know? Just,
Why is he punching himself?
I don't know.
have you ever been
J.J.
in a fight?
Abrams, answer me. Why is there a polar bear on the island?
The Dharma Initiative put it there, and that's also why Kylo Ren is punching himself, because the Dharma Initiative made him too.
I do like the part here, though, that it does say after he had the Ignica removed from him, his powers were removed as well. Although, quote, he frequently forgot this, as referenced in Federation of Fear Chapter 5.
Also, can we talk about the Ignica on the set? Like, doesn't resemble any other form of the Ignica. They already knew what the Ignica was going to look like at that point because it's in all the
Did
comics.
they?
Like, I feel they had to.
But
It's
well, they
possible
talk-
that they had not finalized it until at
Well,
least.
they might not have finalized like the mold that we see in, you know, first 2007, then in the set in 2008 and 2009. But like, you know, the drawings starting in 2006 all have that, you know, the star shaped, the man shaped thing. So
This is true.
But
So,
like, why do they do it like that? Like, why couldn't they come up with a design for the Mask of Life? Like, if this is going to be your big MacGuffin for the next 3 years, because 2008 was planned to be another Ignica year,
Yeah.
why didn't? Well, I guess it was like he's there, but like, why didn't they have a design for the mask? Just pick a design. You come up with 20 designs. Pick one. Just pick one.
Well, one was like the result of like a contest, I think, and then the other
Don't run a
was
contest for your big MacGuffin for 3
was
years.
whatever appears in the Voyanui online game. Which again, like, you know, I know they had the
And BIONICLE Heroes.
Yeah, or sorry, maybe it was BIONICLE Heroes, not a Voyanui online game. Maybe it was both.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're both in there somewhere.
Whatever.
But as soon as you write the words Mask of Life in the story journal or whatever the plan is for here's our marketing for the next 3 years, maybe we should come up with what this thing looks like.
And you know, here's the other thing. They already had the Vitruvian Man as far back as 2000.
They did. That's
Yeah.
all falling apart.
So they knew, and that brings it back to my earlier point. They knew what it was going to look like nominally. So why did they make Vezon look like that?
I guess, like if you look at the design, it kind of, there is an essence of that Vitruvian person, sort of.
Is there?
Not really.
Well,
Is
yes,
there,
it is there. It's just blended into the rest of him, and it's why not have the separate mask?
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know because well, in 2008, 2009, you can get the Mask of Life as its own separate piece. So I'm wondering if they did that so that you couldn't just in 2006 buy Vezon and Fenrock and be like, boom, I got it, Mask of Life. I'm done for the next 3 years. I don't need to buy any more sets.
Well, but like in the set description, it's like first ever mold of the Mask of Life.
Oh man, that's
so like they were advertising.
But why is it fused to
were
his
proud
face?
of that.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that mask on his head does not look anything like what we got later on. That's
I mean,
the thing.
to Lego's credit, they really didn't need to make like the face connect to anything. But I don't know. Why did they just do it right? Come on, Lego. You know how much money I've given you over the years?
You know what's even funnier is if you remember Vezon's headpiece, it actually had an axle right there, so you could use it as a mask.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like you could have used it as a mask, and it
Which wasn't even that well designed, but like it kept pushing itself off of the faces. Anyway.
Right. Like, I just don't understand. Like, what are we doing?
Actually, no. One of the other beautiful pieces was you could put a little hat bushing on there, and you can plumb down the eye so they stayed lit up. There's really no reason to do it, but it's nice that they did that.
Well, the interesting thing is that they kept changing it even after they had a solid design for it.
I'm just looking at it now. Like, the eyes are different. Like, yeah, maybe above the eyes there's a little bit of the Vitruvian, man. Not even.
Not even. No. Also, the mouth area is completely wrong. The forehead ridge, whatever that is.
I've got a question. Does anyone own the Toa Ignika and Toa Matanui sets? Like, is that
Yes.
I own the Ignika set. I own the gold mask because I only wanted to spend $50 on it.
Are those masks the same piece?
Yes.
Yes.
Just different colors.
Why didn't they just do that? Why didn't they just...
Well, I don't know. Like, I'm okay with that because at least we got a gold version of it, right? Like, otherwise we wouldn't.
Just use 3 different colors of like a black, a silver, and a gold. Done.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to do the black because it never shows up black on any character set. So
Yes, but they could have changed it so that they could have had 3 colors of mask, because they also reveal that the mask goes black. Where is that revealed? It's like not even
Where
revealed
even
anywhere.
is that reveal? I like this turn into the Ignika episode.
I don't think it was actually. Oh, where was that?
It's like the weirdest thing. This is another problem. If they're going to do Gen 3 of Bionicle, you can't have Greg running around revealing stuff on BZ Power. You can't do it.
Yeah. No, they mentioned that somewhere.
It'll be
I
on
don't
TTV.
remember where it was mentioned. It was mentioned, like, the reason why it turned silver. I remember him talking about that. Reason it turned silver is because it activated the self-destruct or whatever.
yeah,
That's mentioned in one of the books, I think.
Is it? I don't know.
And yeah.
We need to cite this wiki a lot better. I'm just saying, guys.
Hey! I introduced the system. All right, take it away.
I'm looking at the powers listing here. It does say the Ignika started its countdown by turning from gold to silver, and the mask turns from silver to black when the countdown ends. How long the mask countdown takes depends on how unbalanced the universe is.
Oh, this is such an arbitrary thing.
Yeah.
Where's the balance meter? Like, does
Now,
Thanos come in?
This,
It's just not perfectly balanced. Mask, do your thing.
yeah,
All we really know
so
is,
like, but that doesn't even
Yeah.
create this like tension. Like, you already have Matanui dying as the sense of, you know, the plot motivator. Like, you don't need to add this additional world-ending countdown on everybody. Like, you already have all of these things that are going to happen if
Dorek,
you fail.
it was the final countdown.
Oh yeah, that's their marketing thing, right?
Well,
Yeah.
No, that was an internal.
Yeah,
Well, no,
yeah.
An
it
internal
was
video.
It was in the books and stuff. They were like, okay, and the storms are going to start. Oh, and also the mask is silver, so we can blow up even sooner than the energy storms. It's like, no, you already have your endpoints there. The things you were trying to accomplish before something else happens. You don't need
Also,
to add another line on top of that.
I'll tell you what also happened. They had to pay off the ending from that one line from, what was it? Book 7, I think, or 8, the Downfall, where Makuta was talking to the other brothers, and it's like, it's just like this one fish that's all poison and gets eaten, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of this, but the point is, the only way to win is to lose, and they had to pay that off somehow.
But I think, like, from a story perspective, you're absolutely right. Of like, you can't have multiple countdowns of like, oh, Matthewy's going to die. Also, this other thing's going to die. Also, this other thing, Jala is going to go Nova. Also, this. Also, this. Stop it. Stop all of it. This is crazy.
Right.
Matanui dying should be a big enough deal that like like everyone dies. Like, everyone's life force is tied to his. You've got an hour, and then you all die. It's like a Thanos snap. Something happens. Everyone dies. Don't introduce this other nonsense.
You should have gone for the mask.
Anyway, that's the Ignika portion until we get back to complaining about that again.
I'm sure we will.
Okay, so...
the Vezon episode is going so well.
He gets suspended in a stasis field, that's never explained. Here, it's a Zamor that contains a stasis field. Cool.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Like,
Axon
makes that one,
has
right?
these very secret weapons. So the Dark Hunters have these very secret weapons that are also very ancient that Nadiki and Kreka stole, and then only the Paraka have them, and Axon knows how to use them. Just Just makes so much sense.
Well, no. They gave him a sphere. He put his power into it, and also he has a bajillion other powers because Order of Wonder.
That's the other thing. Like he just Like we could do an excellent episode of like what are his powers? You can't just make up powers for him.
Oh, and also I have a pool of energized protodermis just laying around somewhere.
Also, how does enhancing someone's vision to be able to see molecules like drive them crazy? Anyway, sorry.
Just close your eyes.
I can see through eyelids.
They don't have eyelids. They just turn off their eyes. It's easy.
No, and the funny thing is, Gali was just trying to cover her eyes, and she could still see through her hands. That was the weird part.
It's too much.
There are things living in my hands.
I guess. But then, all right. So back to Vezon. Where were we? Frozen in a stasis field temporarily.
Hang on. When does the Cardass dragon come into things?
Vezon
right after
falls in the lava.
Benrak.
Beat him the first time. Which I mean, fine, whatever. Feel free to pull a JRPG and just have this isn't even my form. It's fine.
Yeah,
right.
I was fine.
I will say they did nerf the Cardass dragon a little. He was no longer able to share that whole kinetic energy ability with Cardass. So
whatever.
Standard
at least they
final boss.
Gave it they gave it a bit of a weakness.
Like I thought the whole of 2006 sounded like it was leading up for a video game. Unfortunately, BIONICLE Heroes was not the hero we deserved.
No.
Actually, I'm not really much of a JRPG guy, but I think I would have rather had a JRPG over BIONICLE Heroes.
Wasn't Voyanui online game sort of that? Except it came out.
Not really a JRPG, but
yeah, it was more like
just your bog standard action adventure RPG, but not even really that.
It wasn't even really an RPG, just little.
You didn't have
wander through shooting things.
There were like stores and like an item system. Like it was almost good. That's how I would describe the Voyanui online.
Almost.
I can't remember. Could you change your character at any point, or were you stuck with that character the whole game?
I don't even
change your character. I'm 99% sure, but I
believe you could change your character. Yes.
I can't even remember.
And that's the other thing.
Game.
Yeah, I don't think anybody finished that game.
No, and that's the thing too. Like it was so long. Like it was definitely fun to play and fun to like start with, but it was just so long.
Yeah. I do appreciate us managing to rip all the backgrounds though to make the Voyanui map. That was really good.
Nice.
I applaud the game designers for actually creating the map in almost a perfect scale of what we were expecting to see. That was a really nice background.
Yeah, it's one of those things of it. They like tossed a little more money at it. That could have been like their. I think they were going all in on BIONICLE Heroes, though. That should have been another game that they released that year. Of like, it's on console, it's on PC.
Yeah, I would have loved to seen the Voyanui game on like a handheld at the time. Like what would have been the one at the time? The DS.
Yeah, it would have Nintendo DS, but you got to make room for the only rated T for teen BIONICLE video game. It's the only first-person shooter Lego ever released.
Oh, that was the handheld? They actually made it a first-person?
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter. It's
like
oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's from all the other ones.
Meanwhile, I actually preferred BIONICLE Heroes for that purposes. It was an over-the-shoulder third party. It was different than the other Lego games. That's all I cared about.
I don't know. There's something just so fluid about the Lego Star Wars. The way that the Jedi jump and backflip and you got a lightsaber. Oh, that's
don't get me wrong. I love the Lego good control games themselves.
And then you get to BIONICLE Heroes and no one can jump.
Yeah. Actually, the best addition they ever did was when they finally put out Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, and you could actually use the triggers on the controller for the blasters. That was satisfying.
Nice.
I'm just going to say that this episode is about as scattered as Vezon's mind.
Yeah. I'm not apologizing for any of this. I'm not editing it down either. This is
the spirit of our subject matter here.
Yes. Moving forward, though, eventually he gets captured again and gets put on the team.
So he gets beaten. Cardass is beaten. Done. The mask flies off his head.
Yep.
Because it got beaten, so obviously it's chose the wrong guardian because it's Smart. And then everybody else after the mask. Then Vezon chases after them, chasing after the mask, and then gets captured by the black.
Oh, I didn't even realize this. Okay, so here's another line right before that. Vezok tries to fuse Vezon back into him.
Oh yeah.
Rydak breaks the spear of fusion, and then Vezon uses the spear's own power to repair itself.
Yes.
That's great.
I don't even know.
Had
What's
some
that?
residual
Like-
in there.
Also, did anybody stop to consider that the Spear of Fusion should have been the staff of Artaka in the first place?
Well, and there's also that, like, so the spear fusion gets ripped, but then what happens to it? It gets confiscated, and then just never gets to be used again.
Nope.
Yeah, Brutaka.
Oh no! Joller burns it down during their fight in the Court, which was originally going to be a book, but then never was a book.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, after the Paraka turned into eels.
I guess that's why his exit is so dissatisfying.
I mean, but eventually he gets captured and put on the Federation of Fear at some point.
Yes.
Well, but hold on.
Okay.
Going back to the spear of fusion. I hate to go back to the spear of fusion, but like, so
We all do.
Vezon fuses the two Paraka into the Paraka fusion, but then when he defuses them, there's like no ill effects. So how does he know what to do with it? Like how does the spear fusion know to split these two heads?
It's
because that's what the mock called for.
That's what their destiny is.
I guess.
It's
Friggin' destiny.
Dorek, do you want to talk about Destiny real fast since you didn't have a chance
it's
last episode?
Fine. It's fine.
But Bionicle is all about, there's lots of instances of very extreme body horror. You've got Rudaka who can mutate people permanently. You've got the Spear of Fusion. I'm sure there's other things I haven't even thought of. But it's all reversible. I guess because
and
they're
the Hordika
Lego
Venom.
sets and you can... Oh yeah, Hordika Venom. That's horrifying. But it's all reversible. Everything's reversible except death. But even death is often reversible.
Yeah,
So
no. Death is also reversible in the Matoran universe because there's the Red Star.
But not always.
Unless your brain is broken.
Well, it is reversed.
Unless you're Sidorak.
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's... Well, so,
Sidorak
it's
has been completely obliterated. He
How
is
does
not
that make
coming
any
back.
Your
sense?
consciousness dies, or there's like not enough left to reconstruct you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know. That was
there
a bad
not
scene in the
enough
movie.
left?
Sidorak should be
Sidorak
alive.
got permadeath.
Hashtag justice for Sidorak.
Yeah, somebody had a boner for Rudaka.
him by myself.
I know.
Oh, Sidorak.
Yeah.
Best character of 2005.
Well, I'm just saying, we accuse the fan base of, having a hard on for Rudaka a lot, but I think the writers definitely did.
Yeah. Anyway, we're so far left base, but I guess she's still relevant to the Federation.
Yeah. I was kind of
Oh, we haven't even gotten to the Federation. Jeez. So
we
we
could probably
get
do
all the way.
individual episodes roasting each of the web serials because they've all got their problems.
Oh, we could roast the entire series of serials, especially after 2010.
So back to Vezon. So 2007, we don't see much of him. Like, it's supposed to be in the book that gets canned, and then shows up. He's being carted away by the Ziglac, whatever. And then the Order of Might captures him. Yeah.
Yep. Apparently, he escaped the Zyglac with the help of Brutaka, though that citation is needed.
But then
We'll find that eventually.
Then we to Federation of Fear.
Yes.
Where I guess he's like the Harley Quinn of the group.
Isn't that what Rudaka is?
No, but
No.
Rudaka actually has powers.
That's true.
Harley Quinn is there.
I
as far
guess
as I
if
can
we're going
tell,
to break it down,
she doesn't have any magical powers. Neither does Vezon. He doesn't have his spear.
yeah, Brutaka would definitely be the dead shot.
I don't think it's a perfect match.
I do not think it's going to be a perfect match either. But point being, obviously Federation definitely influence it based on the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
What are we? Some kind of Federation of Fear?
I'm gonna get so much usage of that meme. I'm gonna make it and we're gonna post it just the day before we post the episode.
Subtlety is not a strong suit.
Vezon was chosen because of his expendability and lack of fear for the Brotherhood. Gotta love it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like, well, I mean, his inclusion. If we jump out of the story, his inclusion is there because Greg wanted to have a funny character.
Greg just likes writing Vezon. Period. Stop. We already
right,
know
but
that.
like, he's not funny. Like,
No.
well, we can jump ahead to some of his quotes. Like, they're not. It's not. Like, it's an attempt at humor, but it doesn't land.
Takadox was a much funnier character given the choice because Takadox was just the one hypnotizing that entire boat crew to jump into the water.
I keep wondering like where the attachment to Vezon comes from. Like, obviously he's the big bad of 2006, but like he's pretty much not in it for the first half. He disappears for most of 2007, especially since we didn't get to see the one book that he would have been in anyway. So like where is this love for him coming from?
Well, I can see, like, because the set is, it's a very appealing set. A lot of people got it. And they want to know, like, what happens to him, because he doesn't die. So it's like, oh, what happens next? And then he turns into this, like, whoa, I'm a wacky character. What am I going to say next?
Turns into the Mr. Bean of the Matoran universe.
Right. And then people are like, hey, we're middle school and we find ridiculous things really funny. Oh, this is so random. Holds up Spork. I am Penguin of Doom.
Oh boy.
Well, and with that stereotypical Skakti smile, I mean, obviously he's supposed to be Joker already. That's the other problem.
I don't know. Okay,
I'm trying to give a reason. I'm trying to think of something. He doesn't give me very much.
He exhausts us, and that's really fun.
He's just very different from basically any other character, because most other characters, they have an actual story arc that they're going through. Vezon doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's my point. Like, his purpose is finished, and usually, like, I get that people don't know what happened to him. Well, I don't know. Just like, why didn't he just die?
Yeah. Well, I mean, BIONICLE is very anti-death.
Yeah.
For the most part.
But I mean, like in Web of Shadows, like it goes out of their way to be. Rudaka didn't actually die; she got spirited away or whatever.
Yeah, even though that shadow hand should have just absorbed her.
Yeah. She should have.
That was the other thing.
She should have died. No, absolutely, she should have died. But
or like write it differently that she runs away or something. Like don't.
Yeah. Or have it be like the shadows enveloped her instead of a shadow hand. Just have it the shadows envelop her, and that's the end of that.
Well, and have her say something, I'll be back next time, Gadget, or whatever. Like don't like make it so that she's beaten and then she gets like sucked away and then you don't ever hear from her.
All right, how about a controversial thought? What if we just replaced Rudaka with Umarak?
There we go. That's the answer.
All right.
Okay, going back to what we were saying before about Vezon's name. I completely forgot about this. But here's a line from Legacy of Evil. A Vezon? Oh yes, the Matoran word for double. Yes, that does make sense. I will go by that name then. Of course, first I will have to eliminate all of you so no one else knows I'm only a half being. You don't mind, do you? So is Vezok's name in universe like Dublo? Like just one letter off of double?
Or maybe it's just
wait. His name is Bubble. He's the water Paraka, so his name is Bubble, and his double is Double. Oh, this is
Bublé.
Maybe Vezok's name is actually supposed to mean. What if it's one whole being with no problem whatsoever? Maybe that's what his name interpreted as.
His parents had high hopes for him.
Someday, son, you are going to become the greatest being of us all, and you will be completely free and whole, and you will have all the tacticians you want, and you'll never get hit by a staff of fusion. We promise.
Well, and also, I wish they had done something with that as well. Like, Vezok being unfused. Like, it was said that he lost his tactical edge, but aside from him basically, like, being impotent every other chapter. Like, nothing happens with that.
Yeah, he just seems to get more angry is what it is.
Like we get a flashback, but even then he's not like some cold calculating character.
No.
Not really.
I mean, I think it would have been a little more interesting to see him having more of a scatterbrain himself. I think that would have been more interesting.
Or like he's just like constantly, like can't even reason with, constantly like biting things. Like he's just like a savage person.
Yeah. Whereas Vezon would be more the cool, calculated one. That would have been interesting. But instead, we get insanity and brute. I don't know.
Yeah. So they go through the whole adventure of Federation of Fear, which could not be a more forgettable tale. And they free Miserix, right? That's the whole point of Federation of Fear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's literally no reason other than, and they also lost Karapar because he had the idea to stab Trencrom in the leg, or whatever it's called.
So Vezon gets re-imprisoned on Daxia. No relation to Zia.
Yep.
Why would you think that?
Well, and they were both introduced in the same book. Like, why?
Just make them related. It's easy.
You know what? I know what happened. They're like, hey, Greg, we need a new island. Dazia.
Also, isn't there like a city in China called Zia?
Xi'an, Xian.
Xi'an.
Oh, there's the Xia dynasty.
Possibly.
I don't know. It's this is.
I only know Xi'an because of that.
Look, if we dig deeply enough, there is at least every single Bionicle term in a language somewhere. We've already established this on another episode.
Oh my goodness. So Zia, I guess that's how you say it. So Zia is the home of the vortex, which is like lots of factories and things where they make lots of things. Is that it's like China? That's
and all
China.
The smog and pollution.
Everything is made in China.
Oh my god,
man.
This is controversial. I don't know if this is okay, guys.
So what is Daxia again? That's the Order of Batanui's home base?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, not even related. Okay, well, thanks. Thanks, Greg. Great job. Great job with the names there. Okay, so then he goes to Destral, gets captured by the Rakshi. They bring him to Tridax, and then he takes the Olmec from Tridax, and then...
I was reading history of the Olmec the other day. Apparently, like, Tridax just like it, like the Order of Motunui, and they somehow lose it, and he somehow gets it, but still doesn't know about the Order of Motunui.
Yeah, and also that's such a powerful mask for it to be like, yeah, sure, Brutaka, you take it. Yeah, this is a good use of this resource.
Right.
We lost another one. This is fine.
By the way, I'd like to point out, every single time Vezon's been put on a mission, literally when he's put out there, they're like, well, why me? Oh, it's because we need somebody that could die we won't miss.
Which is
that is rude. All of his character is literally a person that we will not miss.
Least, like they're consistent from then on out with it. It's like, it's we need it. We're in need of a random character. The people love Vezon. Let's go for it.
Okay, so how does he get fused to the Olmec?
Yeah, because energized protodermis can apparently do that.
It fuses things. If only there was some sort of spear that could fuse things together.
It's just his destiny to be fused to things.
I wonder if that's maybe a leftover of a curse. Because think about it, he was cursed to be fused to both the mask and also to Fenrak.
I mean, I don't know.
I wonder if that's just his lingering curse.
Definition of curse is also a little...
You cut out quite a bit, by the way.
I was just saying the Ignika, like in its definition of curse, is a little naff to begin with anyway.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Okay,
anyway.
So he transports himself using the Olmec to the place where Helrix and Kitangu, the most unlikely couple of Bionicles ever to exist, are fighting the energized protodermis entity. He jumps in at the last second, and then they escape, and then he's hit by a wave of energized protodermis and fuses with the Olmec. What What am I reading here? What is this?
And it absorbs into his body.
Well, and that's the thing too.
Like,
Like, it doesn't change his
allowing a 10-year-old to write this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, literally just got a crayon just drawing on there. And then Vezon fuses with the mask, and now he can go places and do
not even
things.
that. He's like, I've got my action figure of Vezon. Oh, and now he's been hit by a wave as Protodermis, and he has superpowers, but I don't have the Olmec with me, so he just looks the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And now we'll send him to a universe where they fixed everything by making a Toa look like a Matoran.
Like, it just falls off the rails. I guess at this point, Vezon is now turning into Bionicle's version of Deadpool. Like, he breaks the fourth wall. Like, he's crazy. He says crazy things. And he can go anywhere he wants to go because now that's his power.
Yeah. Well, and then, they when he goes to one of the other universes and they ask him what he's a Toa of, he says, when has he ever been like what anarchy actually is?
Very true.
Because this is 2009 and anarchy is edgy because The Dark Knight came out the year before.
That's true.
It's
by the way,
I forgot about that. You're right. That's absolutely where it came from.
I'd like to state for the record, in 2006 we came up with the Toa anarchy first, but I digress.
Nice.
And it was Toa V.
Funnily enough.
Okay, so then he kind of fizzles out. What's the last we hear of him?
Well, he hooks up with all of the other people.
Last we hear of him is with the imprisoned Great Being. At the end of one of the web serials.
He was sent to that little chamber dimension, whatever, where the Great Being was. He froze him in time and also turned off the mask. And it's like, well, I need to find a way out. Well, I'm not letting you out. And he's like, well, what if I could get you out? And then he's like, I'm listening. And eventually he rescues everybody, basically. Miserix, Helrix, Hexon, Pertaka, Tuyet, Artaka, Liwa, Kapura, Hafu.
Yeah, he just turns into this walking Deus Ex Machina of like, no, how are we going to escape? Boom! It's your boy, Vezon.
Dr. Manhattan. I'm not wrong. Oh no, now I need to do Vezon to Dr. Manhattan. Dang it.
I don't know. It's just
Vezon colored blue.
Like I think the point.
No, I'm just gonna put Vezon's head on Dr. Manhattan's body. With or without Speedo, though.
Like,
wait, it's BS01. With.
Where I just got done with Vezon was his line where it's like someone calls out for Tarduk's name and he's like, Tar? Where?
Tarduk.
I'm like, okay, so are their names? Are they speaking English? I don't understand.
That was totally a joke that was just thrown in at the last second to make people go, ha, 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 ha. And then that's the end of that.
Didn't land, is all I'm going to say.
No, it did not. I think it would have been funnier if there was an in-universe appearance between them that he's just, like, ducking because of, fear. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just such a weird character. It starts off really interesting. And, it doesn't even start off well. It's a weird start.
Well, no, I mean, like, the bare sketch of his character was kind of cool. Like, you have this, mysterious seventh Paraka that nobody wants to talk about for reasons, and now he's the guardian of the Mask of Light. I think that's like a great prompt to start.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Seventh Paraka.
Yeah, well, I mean, you almost never have seven, so I think it works out pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, it worked just fine for the Toa.
Nonsense. Just
I don't know. I can maybe deal with his kind of nonsensical origin, and then end of 2006, great, cool. He's done. He's beaten. Like that really just should have been the end of it.
As a boss character, I think he was probably way cool. As a mysterious boss character with an unknown origin, it would have been fine. But when you explain the origin and then you put him in there later on as literally just some random person that we could just kill off, but we never do because he's too stupid to die.
I guess that is a superpower, being too stupid to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just gets a little messy. I don't know.
There are no doubt other characters in other continuities and other fandoms that are just like, we want you to die, but you won't die. Why won't you die?
He is the Scrappy Doo of Bionicle.
Yes.
Yeah. I dig it.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you fix Vezon? How do you make him a more compelling character?
Well, number one, I would not use the Spear of Fusion at all. I would actually have him just be maybe another character, perhaps formed by the Mask of Life based on the Paraka. Maybe something like he is their ultimate desire personified, maybe?
Well, I mean...
So like another version of Ernak?
Well, no,
yes,
like
but I would...
Like the Toa Ignika is like a projection of like what a hero is supposed to be.
No, Toa Ignika is in the being.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And maybe it thinks at first that, oh, this is what a Toa is, because that's like a thing in 2006, is that the Paraka are disguising themselves as Toa. So like you have the Mask of Life thinking that it's good to be evil, and then it learns that it's good to be good. What a concept.
Well, that would be an interesting idea. Maybe
that was
the Ignika would be, or Ignika, or however you want to pronounce it. Maybe it does want to just imitate Paraka, thinking, oh, that's a Toa? I'll be a Toa. I am now Vezon.
Well, except for that, the Mask had that Toa before.
And only really came to the way concept later on as well.
Right. By the way, I totally just said Vezon because I just imagine it calling itself Vezon and they correct him.
No, it's not
I am Vezon. No, it's not Vezon. Vezon. And then he just runs with it. Vezon.
But like, I think the problem is that he turns into a comedic character. Right? You know, Grant has many strengths. I would not say comedic is one of them. But that's harsh to say. I mean, he did so much for the fandom. Comedy just doesn't land.
He really could have stood to have a second writer helping him of some note, if he could, get one.
I know, like, okay, with the sucks. I think those, small references to land. He's not always the worst at it. It's basically literally a walking joke. Like, is not only is that great on the nerves, there's nowhere to go with him.
Yeah, I think that's the thing of like, if you have a character who is like the joke absorber of like, this is the funny character, he absorbs all the jokes, all jokes come through the lens of Vezon. None of the other characters get to tell any jokes or be funny or interesting in any way.
And part of what also makes comedy work when it comes to like a character like that, you need to have a foil. You need to have somebody that can bounce off of it. Unfortunately, none of them are really a good foil. It's kind of what helps Deadpool work is because he's got Cable, is my point. None of the characters could easily be a Cable in this case.
They should have just kept Fenrock as a character.
Fenrock would have been an interesting foil. Just
Yeah,
one
well,
that
I
just
mean,
stares at him disapprovingly.
Well, maybe, like Brutaka, like, be his permanent handler or something, but then Brutaka goes off on some misadventures.
Well, Brutaka ends up in the same pool, metaphorically speaking, as Rudaka of, here's a really good set, very popular character. Let me overuse this character to death.
Oh, yeah.
Of, oh, you're mutated by the pit mutagen. Oh, now you're controlled by antidermis Jews. Now you're doing the Federation of Fear. Now you're doing this. And now you're sending Takanuva through the dimensions. And it's too much. It's way too much.
Oh, and now you're controlled by the antidermis again.
Like, it doesn't... And then none of that's resolved. And there's the problem. You can't open too many plot lines. BIONICLE is not going to last forever. And it didn't. And here we are in 2020 complaining about
Still talking about it. And I think that's probably the right place to wrap this all up with.
Right.
So I think ultimately we've decided Vezon is just Deadpool and not even a good one at that. Is that probably the good answer?
He should have stayed in the energized protodermis and been destroyed. That was his real destiny.
That was his real destiny.
Or stuck in another dimension and we'll never have to look at him again.
Or dead. I think he should have died.
Anyway,
so I think that's probably the right place.
So I think that's definitely the right place to wrap up. All right, so thank you for joining us again.
Died, like he would have ended up on the Red Star. We can never get rid of Vezon.
Nope. No, he would have died outside of the Matoran universe. We're fine.
Okay. Good.
All right. Good.
Actually, no. Before we wrap up, that is a good point. Would he have gone to the Red Star if he died?
I don't even know.
Well, that's actually an interesting question, isn't it? Because, like,
Crap, now we're going to be at this for another
he
15
wasn't
minutes.
supposed to exist.
Or would he have just been reabsorbed by Vezon in the first place?
Well, I don't think he would have been reabsorbed. I also don't really think he would have been taken. He could have been taken back to the Red Star, given that he wasn't created through normal means.
Yeah, it's an artificial being, so the Rahi don't go to the Red Star. Is that right? They don't?
Yeah,
no,
that's
I
right.
don't believe so, no.
And Rakshi don't go to the Red Star. They're artificial.
Right.
Borak.
I think it's probably the best example.
By the way, last bit of trivia before we go. Vezon has a high-pitched, soft voice.
Yeah, where did that even come from? I just read that. Why?
OGD.
People were asking about voices back in like 2008, 2009. I think they were trying to do like some audiobook project.
Yeah.
And Greg's like, oh yeah, and then this, what's his face?
The question was asked, when Vezon speaks, how would you describe his voice? I always thought of it as a soft, a little high-pitched.
Okay.
I'm just going to keep hearing a French accent. I'm sorry.
Vezon.
Perfect.
And with that, we're going to definitely wrap up. All right, so thank you for joining us. Feel free to follow us on social. Feel free to... Oh, in fact, we just recently launched a Reddit account, finally. It matches our...
By the time this episode comes out, though.
What's that?
It's not going to be recent by the time this comes out, though.
Oh, don't worry. Okay, how's this? We, within the last month, launched an account.
Very confident of you, Swert.
I will try my best to get this out within 2 months. By the time you're listening to this, we would have had an account for a while on Reddit. So that matches our Twitter handle, which is Ask BS01. So when you see that on any of the subreddit stuff of Reddit, you'll know it's us. Anyway, I was Swert, and with me were
Dorek,
Spirit,
and Zox Tomana.
I'll be it briefly. All right. Thank you for listening.
Da.
I like how you said I was Swert. It was a little dark.